All right, Peter, I just did a serious deep dive on the form because everything here is really close to perfect. I think there's just two things that we really need to change now. So the first thing is we can see that there's a little bit of pre-spin. This amount of pre-spin I'm actually completely okay with. The issue I'm having with it is I think it's coming from being a little bit too heavy on the front foot. So see how you're shifted over towards this front foot? This is making it so you're sort of in a back foot skidding position. When you have your weight oriented over front foot, it's easy to kick out the back foot. And that's sort of what's happening here. So you're a little heavy on the front foot. So as you go and apply that pressure, it's kicking out that back foot a little bit. And we can sort of tell because instead of like going and leaving off like the tail, even though you're jumping a little early, I think it's being orientated a little bit front foot first. We'll talk about how to fix that in a sec. The second issue we're having is right here, this subtle little head motion. See how your head's right here, and then you're rotating it at this point? So what's actually happening here is just trying to utilize the head a little bit too much, and because of that, it's shifting your axis rotation, and that's making it so you need to like sort of look over your shoulder, and that's why it's not really working for the backside 540. Like if we pull up the backside 540 here, we'll be able to see why this problem is detrimental. So throwing the spin, really good timing with the snap and everything. And this, we can see you're actually leaving off your tail way better. What's something actually really cool I just noticed, yeah, this is a really acceptable takeoff for the backside 540. A little bit orientate over the front foot still for a little bit too long. But notice how as you're coming and doing this rotation, your head is trying to pull around for a spot like this. This is what's going and throwing your axis rotation a little bit off. And that's going to be what's making it so you can't be completely in control and hold a constant spot the whole time. That said, you are pulling into the correct axis rotation. So the way you're getting there, but the way you're getting there isn't quite as smooth because it's making us rotate on a couple of extra directions. So if we look at these backside 360s of mine, I just want to note that these were some of the best backside 360s I got on film that year. So these ones are like cream of a crop for me. Should be able to do better next year, but these are good. So we can see that I am also pre-spinning. I am coming off the lip a little bit more early, but we can sort of see how there's still a little bit of tension on my back foot. And then the second thing you can notice is my head is coming and rotating quite a bit sooner than you. I'm not going and holding my head in that straight spot position. And this is making it so I'm like causing the pre-spin a little bit. But it's not too big of a deal because you can't really do much of spotting forward on the backside 360. So I think you might be using that principle just a little bit too much, and it's really good, really awesome to train. And I definitely have a tendency of doing it early a bit, but I think you're just slightly overdoing it. So I'm basically, as I leave the lip, my head is positioned by my front foot, spot is at the lip of the takeoff, and then from there, I'm patient with my head, letting it pull into a neutral position. Now I'm rotated 90, my spot's back towards the end of the takeoff. And then from there, patient, all the way through the rotation. And once I pass that 90 degrees, that's when I pull my back arm. And see how this is letting me go and pull into the rotation with keeping my head downward? I don't need to go and look over my shoulder. Instead, I'm just pulling into the landing. We'll do this other angle here. Coming up, snapping, head, neutral position, watching the lip of the takeoff. And then once I go and get to 90 degrees, that's when I pull everything in towards the landing. So if we go and look at yours here, wrong one. So looking at this one as a comparison, toe edge, rotating, leaving the lip, and we can see that your spot is slightly past the knuckle. Leaving the takeoff, your spot is still sort of positioned right over here instead of like down over here. And if we just really go and take a second to think about the implications for having your spot over this direction, let's zoom it in. This is setting your weight slightly over towards the side, and this is actually going to make your weight further away from your snowboard and have it sort of kick out. Where if your spot at this point was down like more right here, that'd keep you more condensed. That'd make it so your body wasn't leaning towards that front foot, and then we would be in a better position to pull through. Then for the second part of it, you're now in this neutral position, but you're already pretty late in the rotation for the spin. Like how much longer do we have going up? Still going up a little bit, but you're just hitting this point pretty slow. And then because of how your axis rotation is slightly dipped over towards this front foot, see how you're still set over this front foot? That's lifting your back foot into the air, and that's going to make it harder to like drop and pull in, because if we try to like pull into this position, it sort of want to pull us over the handlebars. So because you're delayed on this, it's making it so you can't go and take your back arm, because if you pulled your back arm into a spin here, it'd throw you off kilter, and it's forcing you to be extra patient. Where what we really want on the backside spin is to be hitting this 90 position, completely comfortable, arm slightly leading, and that way we can pull into it. So I have a couple changes that I'd recommend. First is going to be on this takeoff. I think we're just a little bit too aggressive over top of the front foot. See how aggressive your knee is, see how aggressive your upper body's open. In theory, this is a good position, but with this much bend in the torso, it's just a little bit too much, because it's going to make it so too much weight shifted towards the front foot. Then the second problem is I think we just need to let the head rotate a little bit sooner. You're doing such a good job holding it straight, and this is going to be something that pays dividends in the future, having this ability unlocked, but you're just slightly overdoing it here. On a backside 180, this would be really fantastic, but on a backside 180, we'd need to make sure that the spot was set more straight over here instead of less over here. So this is sort of just like in the middle. If we go and like, I'll just do a little body demo here actually. So basically right now, when you're coming in for your backside spin, you're sort of like this, chest all the way over here, and this just makes it so when you rotate, you're a little bit over that front foot, and you're delaying your spot, so you're sort of rotating like this. That's causing the rotation to be sort of over here, over the back. So then when you're trying to come up and rotate, you sort of need to look over that shoulder, and that's why we're ending up in like this position, where then we sort of need to like counter rotate it around. Where if we go and keep our stance, instead of this exaggerated over here, we just pull this knee out, we come a little bit more back to neutral like this. Now when we rotate, here's the lip of the jump, we come and rotate, and now our body's on the lip of a jump. See how I'm stacking? See how my weight's over here? Now I'm patient catching up. Now I'm in this position, weight over, not coming and like tilting towards this front foot, neutral position. And from here, I can pull in towards the spin. And that's what sort of gives us the control and the axis rotation. So here's the difference. You're rotating right now over front foot, snapping up the spin. One sec. Over front foot, snapping up the spin, coming around, looking over the shoulder, and ending up in this position. I'm going to just rotate this position 180, then continue it. So you're sort of rotating in this position like that. Okay, let me do it one more time from the side angle here. So rotate over the front foot, coming up, snapping, coming around, looking over that shoulder, and that's making it so it's coming around sort of like this. Where what I want you to do is take this stance, neutral it out a little bit, keep it a little more centered, keep it a little more tall, a little more relaxed, wind up, snap, let your spot sort of come to the lip of the takeoff, follow the lip of the takeoff, keep your eyes on it, and that should give you the platform to go and pull your upper body into the second half of the spin. Looking at mine here as a reference. So you can see that just the knees slightly forward like you're doing, but I just have a little taller, a little more centered of a posture. Then when I snap the spin, my eyes are more tracking the lip of the takeoff instead of trying to push past it. I'm not sure if this is like completely ideal, but we're seeing the benefits here. I'm still trying to figure out how to spot longer forward, but the benefit on a backside 360 is really significant to like keeping your eyes tracking the lip of the takeoff. Eyes on the lip of the takeoff all the way. Then when I'm catching up to 90, I pull my head, make sure I'm all in a neutral position. At this point, everything's lined up, and then I can pull into the spin. bit more neutral position, eyes at the end of a takeoff, snapping, keeping the eyes at the end of a takeoff. This is keeping my weight more centered, making sure I'm not rotating too much over the front foot. And then I can go and follow that through and pull into the spin at that last moment. And that's just sort of making it so we have a bit more control. Do I have more I want to say on the backside 540? I think exactly the same thing for the backside 540. Right now your rotation is just set a little bit too much over top of the front foot. So as you're rotating here, it's kicking like, yeah, it's sort of just making it so you're in a position where you need to spot like this. Here, let me go and show you a 540. Okay, I actually remember where I have this 540. Oh man. I got me somewhere. Oh, right here. So this one I don't land, but doesn't matter. Toe edge, and you can see a quite a bit taller stance, knee not coming in quite as much, trying to keep more centered in the snowboard. Rotating the spin, and notice how it's like a little bit over top of the front foot here, like we're shifted into it slightly, but I'm not so much into it that I can't leave off the tail of my snowboard and get that little bit of snap. Then this is sort of like the weird thing with the back five is like slightly corking it, makes it so you can come and like hit that spot, and but we don't need to go over the shoulder. That's why it's a really hard trick. Maybe this isn't the right reference footage because I cork it. Okay, let's just see. Wind up, snap. But this is basically what we're looking for in the back five, and that's just to keep the spot like underneath the arm and have it come and rotate through. I might need a side-by-side comparison of the backside 540 here. Let me exit out of these. Sorry this is rambling, Peter, but just want to make sure I'm getting you the best advice we can because you're doing so good. Want to make sure that since you're applying everything so proper, we're not putting you into a bad situation. Snapping. So if we look at the snapping positioning, it is very similar. The only real difference is you're slightly crunched towards that front foot. Then as you continue your spin, it makes it so you're slightly orientated over that front foot. And that's what's making it so you need to spot over top of your shoulder. Where my spot here, because I'm going and keeping things just a little more centered, it's making it so I can keep my spot underneath the arm slightly. And that's letting me pull it in. I think I need to do a body demonstration here. It's going to be a little bit easier. So basically what's happening on your backside 540 is you're throwing it a little bit over top of your front foot, and that's putting you into this position here. So then you're needing to look over your shoulder to like pull it back in and get it around, right? Because if we throw off the front foot, that's going to throw our chest up. And if our chest is up here, it's natural to look over. But if we keep that rotation a little bit more neutral, then as we go and pop up the spin, we're able to go and keep the head more under. Let me try doing it this way. So coming up, rotating more under, and see how that's letting me come around like this, head underneath, instead of head over here. That's what lets us continue through all the way. So the difference we need to make is make sure that your rotation isn't going over the front foot, because that's going to make it so you're rotating up like this, and you'll need to go and pull it back into that neutral position for looking over shoulder. Instead, keep everything just a little bit more centered, so that way we can pop up, rotate, keep that rotation through, coming all the way down that way. I'll demonstrate one more time for each way. Backside spin, coming up. Versus what we want to be doing. Well, hopefully that helps, Peter. Sorry for the ramble.